So after August 25th, 2023, I asked for my right to be able to study. And like everyone, every human being that's born in this world who has the right to be able to study, I asked for my right to be able to study. And law enforcement didn't let me study. By now, I knew that law enforcement knew about my brain savant. Something obviously I never told anyone about, but law enforcement knew about it. And I still didn't tell anyone. After July 1st, 2023, I would go to places like Target stores and I would see women stopping in front of me, like literally blocking out the aisle just to see if I was admiring their face or not. And I mean, things added up and I knew they knew about my brain savant. Something I never told a single soul about. Never even whispered into someone's ears to say, look, I have a brain savant. I'm a triple savant. Don't tell anyone. Not even that. Obviously not. Any human would do the exact same thing I did. You have a lottery ticket. Are you going to tell anyone about it if you won? No. Till that money goes in your bank account, till you have a security guard guarding you all day, or something of that sort of nature to make sure that people aren't trying to file bogus lawsuits against you. You're not going to tell anyone about it. It's not a really smart thing to do. People think that they are, people think that they're basically owed that money. A bunch of psychopaths. Like my dad, the greedy framer, whom I've never lived with my entire life. There's absolutely no record of me ever living with him my entire life. But due to his extreme irritation, he feels that he's owed that money. And that if he's not getting it, then no one else should either. Due to which he had false testimony fabricated against me on November 20th, just so that my mother couldn't get that money. Then he had more set of lies made against me early March 2026. When those lies were caught, he started doing things like sending me a porn star's picture named Sunny Leone with his sister Farah's name on the bottom of it on March 7, 2026, 3 times. Something he was told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m., 3 hours past midnight. Look, sending this to him is basically an advertisement for incest. You shouldn't send him a porn star's picture with your sister's name on it. But him being desperate, being caught the second time, thinking that he's supposed to be owed this money, he obviously did send me the porn star's picture with his sister's name on it. Again, a month later, on March 7th, 2026, being desperate that he is, thinking that he's supposed to be getting this money, which he's not. He's not getting a penny of it. And so basically what happened was in 2023, after August 25th, 2023, I told law enforcement straight out. I was like, look, I know you have a brain scanner. I know everyone in town knows. I'm a triple savant. They all know about it. I want my savant powers. I want to be able to study. I want to be able to study now. And law enforcement basically refused, and what they did was they tried to frame me for a wedding incident. Obviously, I wouldn't be present in that wedding. My poverty was a blessing in disguise. I wasn't at most weddings, and no one invited me or my mother over to their house to tell me secrets that have occurred at weddings. No one really cared about us that much. I mean, that's human nature. You have someone, let's say that's your sibling and she's older and she works at fast food restaurants. Are you really going to call her over to tell her about a secret that occurred at a wedding? No, you're just going to be like, no, I've got neighbors to entertain. I've got people that I know myself. Like, I'm not going to call my relative who's like my sister who's a fast food worker, tell her about a secret that occurred at a wedding. No one told us. Poverty for me was a blessing in disguise. I worked hard my entire life from the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity. So when law enforcement after August 25th, 2023 tried to frame me for this wedding incident by flashing me with severe amounts of mental instability drugs every time anyone would mention a wedding, all I had to say was, thank you very much, sir, for telling me about a crime that you covered over and thereby committed in law enforcement. How do I know this? The entire year of 2023, law enforcement was running their money fraud sex scheme, November 2023, so aggressively they were running their sex schemes for Uncle Joey and asking me to help, and I was just like, there's no way. There's no way I would help with either your money fraud or your sex scheme in any way, shape, or form. So basically, it was kind of obvious law enforcement committed this crime. They covered it over, but in their hour of desperation, after telling everyone about my brain savant, Law enforcement did not want to let go of it to let me study, not for more than a minute. And since they had already had to do it for 6 hours, and everyone knew about the truth, and no one argues against artificial intelligence, nor do people think that I'm psychic enough to know what the report said. So basically, what happened was law enforcement tried to frame me for this wedding incident, and thus became the first narrators in this trial. Well, before they went and tried to frame me, they confessed themselves amongst their own peers that they were trying to frame me for something that they fully knew that I had nothing to do with, could not have had, since I was watched 24/7, since I was an 11-year-old child. And thus, by confessing before they tried to frame me, law enforcement became the criminals, not just for committing the crime, but then for trying to frame me for a crime they knew I had nothing to do with, only so that they wouldn't have to let me study, and then they would just literally murder me before anyone would see my brain savant performing out in the open. And they just told that lady who tried to pay for my groceries at Walmart in May 2023, sorry lady, he died. He was involved in a crime at a wedding, which I was not. Law enforcement was. They covered it over, and they couldn't care less. Since the entire year of 2023, they were running their money fraud and sex games. So law enforcement was the first narrator in this trial. But after they tried to do this, all I had to say was tell the courts that, look, Your Honor, sir and ma'am, these people in law enforcement are as guilty as sin. All they've done since 2001 is run sex schemes and money fraud. Sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws still going on right now. Money fraud still going on right now. All I have done since I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity in life is work hard with my mother. When I was overseas, I've never lived with my dad, the greedy framer, by the way. He just wants the money right now. I've never lived with him, ever. Never. Not even in the same country, never talked to him on the phone, making it impossible for him to have had any influence on my life whatsoever. When I used to live overseas, I went to my overseas pharmacy school, which, by the way, my mother paid for, sending me money for food, basic necessities, food, clothing, everything, transportation, exam fees, everything. And my dad, because of my grandma, he just paid like $90 a month for tuition for a little while, and that was about it. My mother basically paid for everything. And when I was overseas, I understood the fact that my mother worked at a Food Line grocery store, and she worked really, really hard. Really, really hard. And basically what happened was, I kind of put my foot in the door because my grandma was still alive at that time, and she had angina pain. She just let me in. She just gave me a room from where I could study for my pharmacy. And in the starting, I had $800 that I took with me in cash, and it was okay for the time being that I had that money, you know. But very soon afterwards, that money ran out, and I had no money left. And basically, my grandma fell ill, and I still had the room that she gave me right near my overseas pharmacy school, but I actually had no food. So basically it was like, it's over there, it's like serfdom, you know, it's not maid service, it's serfdom. Woman or a single mother kicked out of her house, living inside of a hut, basically wants to raise her children, so she goes and she works as a maid at people's houses. She gets paid like $30 a month, even less than that, and she gets whatever the scraps of food that the house has that they give to her, that she uses to feed herself and her kids. Basically, my mother worked at a Food Line grocery store, and obviously after a while my money had also ended up being spent. So my stepmother was there, and she would just try to give me that scraps of food that I would pretty much try to eat for a little while. But then I told my mother, I was like, look, can you just send me some food and some money? And so she did, and so that's what I used to try to get through pharmacy school. After a while, I started tutoring someone, and I just told him straight out, like, I'll tutor you, in exchange, you're just going to get me food. And that's what he did. That's pretty much how I got through my pharmacy school. I remember at one time, my mother's money was coming in late, so I had to, I pretty much just stole his food because I knew that he wasn't giving me the right amount or the right kind of food either. So he went for a cigarette break, and I just went into his kitchen and I just stole the food because my mother's money was coming in delayed. And when he came back, I knew he had like 30 failed exams, and I used to tutor him pharmacology in pharmacy school. And when he comes back, I just told him straight out, look, I stole food from your kitchen. And he was just like, shame on you for doing that. So I was just like, look, if you want me to tutor you, you're going to have to share food, or else I won't tutor you anymore. And I knew he was desperate. So after that, I got food from his house. Yeah. And I got to study too. So that worked out pretty well. Anyways, what happened was, that's pretty much how I got through pharmacy school. And in the end, I was even sleeping on the side of the street near my overseas pharmacy school, right outside there. I wasn't willing to give up. I had lizards crawling all around me, but that's not going to stop me. It's an overseas PharmD degree that only requires a board exam, and right now I even know I have a brain savant, which means that board exam is going to be a piece of cake. And since the tuition was so low, it was only like $90 a month. Basically, PharmD degree with 0 loans, I only have to give board exams for, which with a brain savant should be a piece of cake. Anyways, so yeah, this hard work ingrained into me didn't just happen overnight. When I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I realized that my mother was working really hard, and at that time she used to work at fast food restaurants. So I knew I had to work hard, and I was so depressed I stopped going to the community pool even though it was for free. So yeah, that's how I got through life. So this wedding, I was not present at. I can guarantee you that much. If I was, I would know what happened there. And poverty was a blessing in disguise for me because no one invited us to their house to tell us the secret. Human beings are human beings. They're all the same. They only care about money, to the point that they would sell their own sister for that money, like how my dad, the greedy framer, did on March 7th, 2026 by sending me that porn star's picture again with his sister first name on it. Despite being told very strictly, look, sir, February 11th, we understand you don't have a job and you haven't done anything for this kid and you think you're owed this money. Whatever the reason is, sending a porn star's picture with your sister's name on it on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. basically is an open advertisement for incest. You shouldn't do this. A month later, on March 7, 2026, after realizing that the second set of lies after creating mass panic and chaos on November 20th was also caught, thinking that my brain savant's about to get freed, he went into a frenzy. The manic man who used to beat my mother every other day in Ireland went into a frenzy, and he went straight for the money. With his 5-foot-long beard, not caring about his mystical powers and what people might think about him not having these, he sends me a porn star's picture again, Sunny Leone with his sister Farah's name on it, March 7th, 3 times on that morning, just like how he did February 11th at 3:17 a.m. He wanted that money. He thought that he was owed that money, which he's not owed. He never did anything to deserve it. And it's all law enforcement's fault for going around telling everyone about my brain savant, exactly why I kept it a secret. I have a lottery ticket, haven't even put it in the bank account yet. Law enforcement went around telling everyone about it, because of which all these psychos are all after me. Well, anyways, the reason I had to make this video was due to let the courts know that we've had 4 narrators in this trial so far. All 4 of them found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. First one was law enforcement. In the year 2023, they tried to fabricate a false testimony against me after running sex schemes and money fraud the entire year. After August 25th, 2023, I won my case, and I asked law enforcement straight out, look, I know I won my case. I'm a human being. I've been a slave since I was an 11-year-old child. I want to study now. And I told law enforcement straight out, I want to study. I won my case. August 25th, 2023. I know you know about my brain savant. I know you have a brain scanner, obviously, and I know all these girls know about it from town. I couldn't care less about any of them. I don't want any of these girls. I just want my textbooks, and I want my brain savant unlocked. Law enforcement obviously did not unlock it because artificial intelligence already told them about the monetary potential for it. People that did absolutely nothing in their lives are not going to let someone become a millionaire or even richer than that. The reason I have so much support from the ultra rich, and pretty much everyone in the ultra rich support me, they all do. I'm not going to name any names, but if you know anyone in politics who's ultra rich, just rest assured they also support me. And the reason they do is because they found out about my brain savant. They found out that artificial intelligence, what it was saying about it. They also found out that the artificial intelligence was saying that I had really high potential from any other human being, since there's no other one who's artificial intelligence has scanned their brain and marked it as the only triple brain savant in the world with increasing powers, is found out on November 14, 2025. The ultra rich found out about this, and they found out about a kid who was absolutely poor and had all these things, and they started fighting for me. And I thought that was a really nice thing to do. So the ultra rich basically, they fought for me, and they told law enforcement to let me study. They found out about me winning my case on August 25th, 2023, and they told law enforcement to let me study, since no one has any right to inhibit someone from being able to study. Well, anyways, law enforcement still did not let me study, and I'm really thankful for the ultra rich for doing this for me. Pretty much, they found out about it, and they found out about some poor kid who had the potential for being like them, and it was really nice of them. They did not waste a single second to start fighting for me, and they were just like, let him study, it has nothing to do with anything. And they started fighting for me really, really hard, and they started telling law enforcement, like, you better let him study because it has nothing to do with anything. Kid's not done anything. This wedding incident is BS. He wasn't there. And the ultra rich basically told law enforcement. After that date, they were pretty much all involved, and because they found out that there was some poor kid whom artificial intelligence has marked as having a really high probability to becoming like them, and who aspired to be like them, and pretty much they started fighting for me almost right away. And to them, I am very thankful for all their help. Pretty much everyone in the ultra rich started fighting for me. I don't want to name any names, but if you know someone who is ultra rich, even if they're in anywhere, just rest assured that they're also part of it. Anyways, after that, law enforcement was basically the first set of narrators in this trial, and they were found guilty of sin, not only because they were fabricating a false testimony against me on August 20, in the year 2023, but also because the entire year 2023, all they did was run money fraud and sex games, which means that they were fabricating a false testimony against me for a crime that they themselves committed while they were openly running sex schemes and money fraud against me. So, they were basically the first set of narrators. The second set, obviously, was my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters. My dad could not see the fact that my artificial intelligence had marked me as being the only triple savant in the world. He was not going to get any money out of it. It's not his son that he raised, but me. So my mother's going to profit off of it. He's not going to get any money off of it. He's not going to watch from the side while we have all this money and he doesn't have any. So obviously he begged his framer sisters and law enforcement to fabricate false testimony on November 20th, 2025. And then also early March 2026, he was making more lies against me as soon as he finds out that these lies are already confessed to the government informant as being lies. And obviously, he starts doing things like trying to get me to commit incest with his ugly, weird old sister, big, fat, ugly sister named for the greedy framer on March 7, 2026, 3 times by sending me a porn star's picture named Sunny Leone that day, sending me sexually explicit pictures of his big, fat, ugly old sister, offering the greedy framer March 10th every single day afterwards, and his ugly looking wife. Oh my God, so ugly and old and weird and with his big beaver teeth. March 12th, he asked me if I was willing to fulfill his disgusting sexual perversion, sleeping with his disgusting, ugly old wife. So basically, these are the kinds of things that this psycho man has been up to. to try to get that money after his lies were caught. And then even after this, I obviously rejected it. And then he came up with more lies, claiming that, yeah, like you've already had 2 tries. Trying to claim that you witnessed me commit a crime. And then he tried for it this 3rd time. And the 3rd time he went really aggressive. He's like, no, I really did witness him commit this crime. And so basically the 3rd time after his greedy tactics failed, so of course we're forced to retrieve all the phone conversations. Like, talk about being played for a fool. Like, you've been played for a fool twice. He's claiming the 3rd time. What are the chances? The phone conversations were retrieved. I just told the courts right away. I was like, Your Honor, let me tell you what the results are. I'm feeling a little psychic over here. Every single statement that this psycho man, my dad, the greedy framer, has made is all false. You're going to find that out from the phone conversation. Big surprise. And they found out that every single thing he said was all false. So basically, yeah, these were the second set of narrators. My dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters. The first set was law enforcement. 2023, they were trying to frame me, but it wasn't just that they were trying to frame me. All they did the entire year was run sex games and money fraud. And so the second set of narrators, my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, now were caught with greed and extreme envy. And I had done nothing wrong my entire life. Ever since I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, all I've done is work hard my entire life. And law enforcement couldn't care less about anything since they were involved in everything bad that occurred. From that time till right now, when money fraud is still ongoing and the money is still being transferred and sex games still ongoing, well, these were the second set of narrators. So law enforcement said, wait a minute, we've got more. It's like those commercials, right when you think it's ended. The guy goes, hold on, we've got more. And we're just like, all right, let's bring it out then. And they take out Assad. Excuse me. Assad, basically, as soon as they bring out Assad, the relatives from Michigan, I said it straight out, day one, I was like, this man is involved in every single thing bad that happened. I was not involved in anything, but if there's anything bad that happened, you can rest assured he was involved in it. He knew about it, never reported a thing, and if there was a crime scene, I could guarantee you, whatever that wedding incident was, he was there. He was involved. He was fully involved. And the only reason he's doing this right now is due to extreme envy. Basically, in the year 2024, Assad used to have law enforcement put up Coke bottles and "Hello, brother" on my TV home screen, only because he was a pervert who wanted to run after these girls. Yeah, you don't want to know the history with this pervert. And, like, they have these, in third world countries, there's some places in third world countries where prostitution is very common, and never mind. Anyways, the thing with Assad is, the day Assad came in, I said it straight out. The first day, I was like, he came walking into this court. I've got to give it to him. The man has some guts. And I told the courts, I can guarantee you, right now and right here, he was involved in everything. The wedding incident, what Busher Akhtar was trying to tell me in 2019, other things that he knew about that he never reported. How do I know this? These people all were involved in everything. Where I was watched since I was an 11-year-old child. My mother never knew there was an investigation going on. And poverty was a blessing in disguise. I couldn't be present anywhere know about anything at all. So whatever Busher Akhtar was trying to tell me in 2019, I just stopped her in the middle and I was like, look, I don't want to know. And that was the first time anyone even tried to tell me a secret in my entire life in 2019. But as soon as these relatives found out about my brain savant, they were like, hold on a second. Don't tell him any of the secrets, anything that happened, anything you know about. What we're going to do is try to blame him for all of it. And that's exactly what the relatives from Michigan tried to do then, including Assad. But I can guarantee you Assad was present in every setting. Whether it was a wedding incident, he knew about what a Busher Akhtar was trying to tell me, that I interrupted her in the middle. He knew about everything. And I could not, because I was raised by a single mother. I didn't have the money to be anywhere or know anything. No one told me anything. And so, yeah, That's my history, and it's proven through facts and evidences. I was never present anywhere at any time. The only time I was present in a crime scene was in 2011 when I saw with my own eyes my dad, the greedy framer. He was recruiting people to go out and mass murder innocent human beings, and basically he was doing that, and he did it like every day. It's only one of the 3 times I've ever met him. And law enforcement went and tipped him off. And the reason law enforcement did that, because they were just like, look, man, we're trying to run sex schemes and money fraud over here, and you're really being a nuisance, so why don't you just stop? So that's the only time. But facts and evidences will clearly show you that my mother's never uttered one word considered bad her entire life, from more than 25 years that she's been watched. And with a brain scanner attached to my brain, I've never thought of anyone with anything less than the utmost level of love and respect for every single person of every race, religion, ethnicity, whether it was a Hindu Christian or Jewish person who was Orthodox Jewish with long beards. I loved and respected each and every single one of them, with a brain scanner proving this beyond a reasonable doubt. That's how my mother raised me, and that's how she was. From day one, that's how my mother was. And the facts and evidences will show that throughout the entire life I've lived with my mother, she's never uttered one word considered bad, racist, in any way, shape, or form towards anyone. To the point that if I am at the mall with her and I ask her about marrying some girl who's Jewish, she would give me such a nice reply that I would wish that I asked her at home so the other person could listen in on it. That's the kind of person I was raised by. Not my dad, the greedy framer, who was doing what he was doing, and the facts and evidences will show you from 2011. Something that law enforcement had to tip him off about, and you know that it had to be serious if law enforcement had to tip him off about it. So basically, Assad was the third narrator in this trial. Very ironic, a very desperate move by law enforcement. So first set of narrators, law enforcement. From the year 2023, all they did was run sex schemes, money fraud the entire year, only to try to frame me for a wedding that I never had the money to go to. And the entire life, from the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity, facts and evidences will show all I did in life was work really, really hard with my mother to achieve my dreams, which I fought really hard for after August 25th, 2023, when I won my case. And I'm still fighting for the right to be able to study, since studying is not a crime, and I could give them the textbooks I want to study, and it's not a crime. And that's when the ultra rich found out, and they got involved as well, and they started telling law enforcement, look, you have to let him study, it has nothing to do with anything, and he just won his case right now. And law enforcement, being the way they are, they just try to fabricate a false testimony against me, and then people obviously backed off after that false testimony because they got scared that I might have been involved in a crime, which I was not. Law enforcement was, and they could basically confessed to their own crime. And I bet if November 20th was a real crime and setting, law enforcement would have been involved in that one as well. Okay, let's just put it that way. That's how guilty these people are. So after 2023, and after seeing their money fraud and sex schemes that they were running all year 2023, law enforcement were forced to back off as the first set of narrators. Then law enforcement were like, no, wait, we've got someone. And they brought in my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters to be the second set of narrators. They were all based on greed and extreme envy. They created mass panic and chaos on November 20th, to the point that on November 27th, Governor Josh Green is putting aside the vaccine issue on this at the time, and saying that confusion is the enemy and we have to remove the confusion. He wasn't talking about the vaccine confusion. He was talking about the confusion that my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters had created. Yes, that's how much panic they created, just to make sure my brain savant could not get freed, so my mother could not get any of the money that they could not get. These were the second set of narrators who were based on greed and extreme envy, and the greed was shown on March 7, 2026, when he sent me a porn star's picture with his sister Fur's name on it. Then March 10th, sent me sexually explicit pictures of a woman resembling his other big, fat, ugly old sister named Afreen, the greedy framer predator, every single day on March 10th and afterwards. And then on March 12th, he thinks that he could just slide this one in, like he's trying to do this for money. His ugly old wife, whose picture, if you ever saw, you would know that no one would do this for money. No one would pay for this. No one would get paid for this either. Like, if he tried to pay someone money, they'd just be like, no, thank you. It's just not worth it. So he tried to slide this one in as well on March 12th, asking me if I was willing to sleep with his ugly old wife on March 12th. I was just like, no, thank you. Forget paying you for this. I wouldn't take money for this, not for all the money in the world. So these people were basically based on extreme envy and extreme greed. They created mass panic and chaos on November 20th afterwards. More and more lies every single day. And then after they were told, like, look, you already tried this trick February 11th at 3:17 a.m. Sending a porn star's picture with your sister's name on it is an open advertisement for incest. It clearly looks like you want the money. He still did it on March 7th, 2026, and he did it 3 times. Just to try to, because he was really desperate. Second set of lies were caught. He had already created mass panic and chaos on November 20th. Second set of lies were caught, and he was really desperate. He's not going to watch my mother with all this money from the side when right now he doesn't even have a job. He's not a licensed doctor. He's never been in any country in the world. And just like how he's trying to scam the courts right now, he tried to scam a hospital into thinking he was a licensed doctor in Ireland when he's not even a physician's assistant. All he does is help out doctors at the hospital. That's all he does. He's never even given his board exams, which is exactly why he's been running after this money like an uneducated, illiterate man that he is. So basically, that's what he was trying to do. And he was trying to lock up my brain savant, and then followed by sending me these porn star's picture with his big, fat, ugly old sister named Farah the Greedy Framer on March 7th, 3 times, even though he was told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m., he was told, look, sending a porn star's picture with your sister's name on it is an open advertisement for incest. He still tried it. And then after that, his big, fat, ugly old sister, Afreen the Greedy Framer, on March 10th, that day and every single day afterwards. Now, the thing is, I have to add some more facts about these 2 framers, because on basically, they were both trying to send me ads for themselves and their daughter again. So basically, for the framer, the greedy predator framer was sending me June 15th at 10:56 p.m. and then 11:51 p.m. June 15th, and then June 16th, a little while later after midnight, 12:16 a.m. on June 16th. Zorro ad for her, Farah the Predator's abnormal looking weirdo daughter, ugly weird daughter named Zara. These Zorro ads for her daughter on June 15th at 10:56 p.m. and 11:51 p.m. and then a little bit after midnight at 12:16 a.m. on June 16th for her weirdo looking ugly daughter named Zara with these Zorro ads. And basically, this is like after April 9th, I told her already, like, I don't want your daughter. Like, seriously, like, just let go of me. And she'd already tried this before, but recently, only 2 days ago, for the predator was trying again. And basically, I've already told her that I don't want it. So these were the second set of framers. Okay, and narrators in this trial, basically. And then the third set of narrator was Assad, obviously. We know he's guilty of sin, and law enforcement doesn't care, because law enforcement's guilty of sin as well, and they were trying to frame me for everything possible. In the end, they got found out, like, these people are all involved. Law enforcement, Assad, all are involved in everything. So these were the third set of narrators. The first set, law enforcement 2023, running money fraud, sex schemes the entire year by law enforcement in 2023, only to try to frame me for a wedding incident that they were themselves basically confessing of their own crime, whatever it was, in 2023 after I won my case on August 25th, 2023, only because they didn't want to let me study after telling everyone in the world about it, because the artificial intelligence report had come out. So second set of narrators were my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters. By the way, the artificial intelligence report, undeniable. It's 6 hours long, from August 9, 2022 It's undeniable. But anyways, we've had more tests even after then. So basically, second set of narratives, my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, and just recently on June 15th at 10:56 p.m., 11:51 p.m., 12:16 a.m. on June 16th, a little while later, Farah, the greedy framer, tried to advertise her weirdo-looking, abnormal-looking daughter, Zara, again, tried to force me to marry her. It's June 17th, so it's literally only been like a day or two. June 15th at night and June 16th after midnight at 12:16 a.m. Zara was, Farah, the greedy predator framer, was trying to advertise her abnormal-looking daughter, Zara, on at that time, and only about a day or two ago. And so Miss Deb, we come over to Miss Deb now. Law enforcement in this trial is just like, but wait, there's more. And so right when a narrator is caught as being extremely guilty due to extreme envy and extreme greed, law enforcement just goes, but wait, there's more, and they just bring in a new narrators. Well, the first one was law enforcement found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, running sex scenes, money fraud the entire year of 2023, tried to frame me for a wedding incident that they themselves were involved in only after August 25th, 2023, because they realized that they would have to let me study with my brain savant powers if they didn't do so. Then they were just like, no, my dad, the greedy framer, they fabricated false testimonies out of extreme envy. November 20th, 2025, it created mass panic and chaos just to make sure that my brain savant money could not go to my mother if it's not going to him. Then he tried more lies. Early March 2026, got caught with those, and then he tried greedily trying to send me advertisements for committing incest with his big fat ugly sister named Farah, the greedy framer, on March 7, 2026. Then big fat ugly old weird sister offering the framer predator on March 10th, and every single day afterwards. And then you also have, so offering the predator recently, also June 16th, 7:23 p.m. Hershey Hotel by offering the greedy framer. So these people are running after me now, out of greed. So see how they're just like, a bad person, don't let his brain savant go. And now suddenly they're just like, oh wait, telling law enforcement, can you advertise for us? Advertise for us, please, or advertise for my daughter. So basically,